Here we have a clip from qualifying. This will be the fastest lap I set in the session in order to set my position for the race. Here I'm taking the shortest distance to the timing line, then moving across to the left of the track to open up my corner for Paddock Hill Bend. Here I'm getting my apex, opening the throttle now. The car goes very light as you go over the brow of the hill. Now coming up for the next corner, which is Druids, using the bridge as my braking marker. You have to try and keep the car tight into this corner. I make a little bit of a mistake, brush wide, but I have to carry my speed on the way out of this. Going towards Graham Hill, I use the green on the right to open up the corner. It's very off camber, so it's easy to use the exit. You don't really want to because it does unsettle the car. You've got a little bit of a straight here, coming up to a left-hander here. It's a very tricky corner. Here I cut in quite tight and try and carry as much momentum I can to the apex. It works here in qualifying, but in the race I've got higher fuel, so I use a slightly different line. So I'm coming down this straight here. There's a really steep hill going down here. You gain a lot of speed very quickly, so you have to be very careful on the brakes here. You don't want to lock up, you don't want to make any mistakes. It's now a fast right-hand corner. You need to get on the throttle early to settle the car. It's got a little bit of straight, so exit is everything going through that corner. Here you need to turn right. It's a downhill off-camber corner, and you can see there's a gravel trap on the outside. You don't want to be stuck in that because you're not going to get out of it. The next bit is an uphill corner. You've got to brake here, and you're careful because you turn right because the car does go very light over the crest. You need to settle the car with the throttle. But you turn in here, you've got a bit more camber, so you can take in a lot of speed. Get on the throttle early, prioritise your exit coming out of this corner, and it's very good for overtaking positions, as you will see later in this video. Coming here is the final corner. You brake, turn right, hit your apex very late. Then you use the safety car line. That's what I use as my marker to get to the outside of the circuit. You then cut into the right, take the shortest distance to the line, and you can see the timing line coming up now. Here we have the opening lap of the race. I'm watching all the cars in front of me. There's a big pack in front of me. I'm careful of the blue car in front of me. I've seen him before. He's very nervous going into corners. I'm very mindful of him, and all the minis. They're very light and off the line and going into the first lap. They're very light and they'll get in all the different gaps. As it goes green here, the car struggles just to get off the line. They're quite heavy compared to these guys and low power in relation to this big blue car on the left. I'm taking it in very cautiously into the first corner. I don't want to be having any contact in the first corner. You never know what happens there. Going into Druids here, just taking it gently on the brakes. Don't want to lock up, don't want to make any mistakes going into here. I'm cutting in just to try and get the switch back on this mini in front of me. Doesn't work, so I go for the outside. Going down towards Graham Hill at the Mustang in front of me brakes. I have to kind of move out the way of him, try and get the switch back, but of course he's got a lot of power on me. He just walks away from me. Going to this next left-hander, I know the Mustang on the inside has the inside line, but it means I can try and get a switch back. I look in the mirror, there's no one there, bam, there's someone there. It was a bit of a racing incident. There's no investigation by the stewards, so it's just a lap 1 racing incident. I didn't see him there. I didn't expect him to come up the inside of me on lap 1. Then the Mercury comes through. He's got a lot of power, a lot of straight line speed, but I can get him in the braking zone in the corners. I don't really want to take him in the braking zone here because I don't trust that he's seen me, so I try and take him in the corner. I get a good exit here, but of course he's got a big veer under the bonnet. He's going to get away from the straight, so I'm going to have to try and get him in the bends here. I get a good exit out of this corner. I get alongside him. I'm trying to make the move stick going into this next bend. I managed to pull it off. I need to get on the brakes here and try and get the move done. I'm now chasing the Cortina in front of me and the minis. Just need to reel them in, make sure if they make any mistakes, I need to capitalise on that and make up any ground I've got. You see here, I take a lot of exit speed out because of the camber. I get on throttle early, and now I've got a good run on him into the final corner. I brake a little bit early because I want to try and get a switch back, but he parks on the apex and I can't quite get behind him, so I've got to try and run as much speed as I can out of that final corner and try and get him on straight line speed alone. To capitalise a lot of the positions at the start of the race, a lot of these amateur guys take a little while just to warm up and make sure they can get the lap time safely. What I'm trying to do is just trying to pounce on them while I've got high fuel and I can get past them clean. You see here, I get on the brakes a little bit earlier than he can. I get in, get the move done over the inside line, and I'll try and take the speed down towards this Mustang. So I'm trying to plan my move. He's got a big V8 under the bonnet. He's going to walk away from me on the straights. However, on the braking zones and through the corners, he's lacking a little bit of speed. I can see there's a novice crossing the back of him, so I need to be wary. He might not be looking at his mirrors, but also he's not going to be taking as much speed into the corners that I potentially could do. So I'm just trying to stick to the bumper of that Mustang in front of me, just to make sure if he makes a mistake, I'm right there to capitalise on that, and just try and make sure I can get a move done to try and move at that place. You can see he's a little bit all over the place when he slides. He gets it back. He seems to be a safe driver, but at the same time I just want to make sure that I'm not in a position where it could cause an accident. So I'm just trying to reel him in. I'm getting towards the back of his bumper now. I'm going towards Druids. I know that these Mustangs are quite hard on their brakes and they're going to struggle to pull up into this corner, so I take a look on the inside, see that he's left a bit of room at the apex. I climb on the curb just to make sure I can pull myself in towards the apex and I can get the move done going towards Graham Hill. He's still got me on the legs. Then in the braking zone for Graham Hill, I've got the move done. In this next clip, as you can see, there's someone gone from the gravel trap at Paddock Hill Bend, which means that one of the front runners has come off and is now rejoining the track. You see the orange car there? I know that orange car quite well, and I know that he's got a lot of speed, so I've got to be wary of him behind me because he's got a lot of power under that bonnet. I'm turning in here just to try and take as short a line as I can because I'm trying to raise this mini position, trying to get a good run down towards Graham Hill, get the switch back here going left. I'm now going to try and commit to the inside line for the next corner, which means I've got the shortest distance to the next straight, which means I can try and get this move done. Here on the brakes, I've got the move done, I've made it stick, I'm turning left here, and now I'm conscious in my mirrors that the orange car is now going to be coming up in the inside of me. I just want to demonstrate how much power these front running cars have. Look, he's just walking away down this straight. It's really interesting to see the pace difference here of the cars. In these videos, you often hear me talk about capitalising on other people's mistakes. I just want to give you some examples on where we can do this. He's locked up slightly going into Paddock Hill Bend. He's missed his apex. It means he's got slightly lower minimum apex speed going to this next corner. I can then get him on the brakes, turn in. This other guy's missed his apex as well, so I'm trying to get as short as line as I can, get the exit, get on the throttle, and you see here I've taken 2 cars in 1 corner, and that's capitalising on their mistakes rather than me doing anything differently. This next clip is all about awareness. I'm so focused on the blue car in front of me. I'm defending from the guy behind here, this Mini, and he decides to sneak through the gap I've left him on the inside. I didn't really want to go all the way to the apex, so I didn't want to limit my top speed going through here because I'm trying to chase that blue car in front of us. I made a mistake, the Mini got through. I try and take this inside line going towards Paddock. And as you can see, I've taken that inside line. The Mini's going to be trying to hang it around the outside. He's going to try and switch back on me. You can see how I've moved across the right hand side of the circuit, trying to brake here. The Mini switched the outside of the circuit. I've now been held up by the blue car in front of me. You can see here how awareness is key. You kind of run out to the outside of the circuit trying to squeeze him. He's got the inside line for this next bit of the corner. I try and switch back again like I did earlier. Didn't quite have the front grips, try and switch back up to the inside of him, which means I don't quite get the exit for the next corner. I try and just back off a little bit just to try and get some minimum apex speed here to try and get on the power early for this next straight. Doesn't quite work out. I've just got to try and follow in his toe, trying to keep up with him and make sure that I don't lose him on this straight, because I need to capitalise on the mistakes like I was telling you earlier. I need to just make sure I stay with them and just try and use them every bit that I know with racecraft. Just trying to keep the line perfect, trying to keep as much minimum speed as I can, carry the momentum. All about what historic racing is about, carrying momentum, trying to get from the corner to corner with as much speed as possible. I'm watching these guys the whole time, just trying to look at their lines, look at how they try and do corners. I just see him have a slight slide there. He's going to try and make a move on the blue car in front. The blue car then closed the door at the apex. I've got a perfect line, so this is a mistake I can capitalise on. I've got a good drive alongside him for the final corner. I'm going to try and brake slightly earlier than him, just to try and get a switch back here. I'm on the throttle now, just to try and keep the car as straight as possible. I'm trying to commit to the inside line here to try and get the shortest distance to the timing line and trying to get the shortest distance on the guy on the outside. I managed to make the move stick here. I'm braking going into Paddock Hill Bend. I'm trying to go into the right, make a slight gear change mistake, which means that I struggle to get the car slowed, but I get the car in. I'm braking here, trying to get the car in and get as close as I can to the car in front. Make sure I'm defending from the guy behind by going quick and not being held up the guy in blue in front. It's all about awareness and perception of the guys around you. You need to be very aware of this. I'm trying to put my car in a very safe position and trying to switch back on the guy in front. He's got a lot of power underneath that bonnet, so I'm just trying to keep my momentum up, make sure I don't lose him on these slow speed corners, because that's key. I've got the speed on in these slow speed corners, but you can see how he walks away on those straights. I'm keeping a close eye on the mirror just to make sure the Mini isn't coming up behind me. At this point I've lost him. I'm just trying to chase this blue guy. I saw what he was doing to the Mini earlier. Mini was on the inside of him and he closed the door rather sharpish, so I just don't want to be in that kind of position really. So I'm following this guy. I'm trying to keep closer in these high speed corners. I'm accelerating here, going down to the pit, going up to the next thing. So right, I know I can carry a lot of speed here. I'm just watching him here, and you see here, he backs me right up in this corner. So I know for the next time he's very slow through that corner. I'm going to be watching him all the way around the circuit just to make sure where I can take him for the next one. So you see on this lap, I try the same thing again where I try and switch back on him, but he's got the power on me. So I'm just trying to keep up with him, just trying to make sure I stay within a set distance off the back of him, because I just want to make sure in the corners I'm close as I can be, because on these straight bits he just walks away and gains a few hundred metres on me. It's all in the brakes, it's all in the bends. I just need to carry the momentum. Try not to get stressed out by the distance that he's gained on me in the straights, because if you see here, he's gone from a 200 metre gap on me to right to about 10 metres. It's crazy how much we can make up in the corners. So I'm thinking, okay, last lap, he held me up in that bend. I'm trying to plan as much as I can here. So for the next bend, what I do is I take a little bit of a later entry into that corner to make sure I get on the inside early for this next bend, get on the power early, then I'm on the outside of him from this next bend, and to make it stick, and also to make sure it doesn't go into me, I just take a little bit of a wider line, get on the throttle early, I look in the mirror there, and I can see I've got the move done, and it's done very safely.